Hi, everybody. I'm Donna Terrell. April is National Autism Acceptance Month, and we here in Arkansas are celebrating with a special program you won't want to miss. Welcome to Autism Amplified. This program hopes to encourage open and honest conversations about the true meaning of autism acceptance and foster positive connections between autistic individuals and the broader community. We will also discuss resources available to support the autistic community and share a few inspiring and educational stories. Before we delve into our conversation on autism, we recognize that this is a complex and multifaceted topic that cannot be fully covered in just 1 hour. We want to acknowledge that there are various perspectives on preferred language and appropriate terminology when speaking about autism. Our intention is to initiate a conversation that respects the diverse viewpoints and experiences within the autism community. So let's use this time to start a dialogue, to share insight, and to cultivate a deeper understanding as we explore what autism acceptance is and navigate this complex and important subject together. Our program format will be divided into 4 segments and will feature personal stories. We will also hear from autistic individuals, caregivers, a medical expert, and educators who are here with us today. Let's get started. First up is Dr. Jane Belando, who will help provide us with a basic understanding of autism. She is the pediatric psychologist and a professor at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences in Little Rock. Her clinical work is at the Dennis Developmental Center, the primary developmental diagnostic clinic in the state. She is the co-director of the Community-Based Autism Liaison and Treatment Project, also known as COBALT. And she is also one of the co-directors of Healthy Child Care Arkansas. Dr. Belando, it's wonderful to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here.
Let's begin our conversation by understanding autism and its characteristics. Would you explain what autism is and what are some of the more common autistic traits?
Okay, I'd be happy to do that. That everybody clinicians who are diagnosing autism use the same manual and the same criteria to be able to make that definitive diagnosis. When we look at the characteristics of autism, we have 2 criteria. One is looking at social communication and social interactions, where we're seeing if there are any differences in the way that an individual is able to get attention, how interested they are in getting attention of other people, how they're able to use their gestures, their eye contact, their facial expressions, and how well they're able to understand the nuances of social relationships. That is the core and probably the most important characteristics for autism. The second criteria we see are important, but we also see them in other individuals with potential developmental delays. And it's restricted, repetitive behaviors and interests. So we may see things that like lining up toys or hand flapping or using side vision or having trouble with transitions, difficulties with sensory or maybe intense interests. We're certainly looking at that whole package, but those are our core features that we look at when we are giving an autism diagnosis.
So let's talk about autism in the clinical sense. What would you like everyone to understand about the diagnostic process?
The diagnostic process can be somewhat lengthy, but we want to make sure that we're getting all of that information so we can get the diagnosis correct.
And I'm sure the lengthiness of it can be very stressful on a parent as well as the child, but certainly there are upsides to receiving a diagnosis.
Absolutely. And one of the things that is so important is for others that are working with that child to understand that child better. And so getting the diagnosis can help others understand that child, understand what they need, and also to be able to qualify them in the state of Arkansas for services.
Regarding COBALT, What would you briefly tell us about how it works and your work to help autistic individuals and their providers?
Cobalt is an initiative through the UAMSA, our Department of Pediatrics, and our state Title V children with chronic healthcare conditions. What we have done is we've trained pediatricians and pediatric nurse practitioners around the state to do advanced screening, because many children don't need to wait on a wait list to get a diagnosis of autism when they don't have a diagnosis of autism. So getting those children screened and into services quicker allows children who do need to come to our center for an autism evaluation to also get here quicker.
Before you leave us, do you mind telling us, what does autism acceptance look like?
To me, it's embracing the whole person and not just looking at the things that are difficult for them. I've been doing this long enough to see children that we have given diagnoses to who are thriving and doing beautifully. That it's important for parents to know we're not putting a cap on their future. We need to help them with the things that are hard, but to embrace the whole child, not just a diagnosis.
Well said. Thank you, Dr. Belando. Next up is our first panel, but before that, let's hear a personal story from a young man who lives in Northwest Arkansas. Meet Logan Slaughter.
My name is Logan Slaughter. I'm from Harrison, Arkansas, and I have autism. We don't know why everything happens. I don't know why I have autism. I don't know why I've had to battle a lot of things and go through a lot of things or be so different than other people. I've cried a lot of tears, but I think God works his wonders. He makes people different so they can make a difference, and I hope I'm one of those people, but I decide to look at my glass half full than half empty, and I'm very positive in my life, and I'm just trying to do everything that I've wanted to do. Like yesterday, I flew on a plane, and I never had done that before. So this is my town, Harrison, Arkansas. I love it here. I love the people. They've been so good to me. I just love them with all my heart. Yeah, I got my driver's license. That was a big deal. It's like winning the lottery. I took the test many times and failed, but never give up. I'm writing a book about my life and journey, kind of a wisdom book. And so I've been working on that and a children's book and some other things. A talk show's been a big dream for a long time because I love people, helping people, crying with people, laughing with people. I think we need more positive stuff out there. Because I got diagnosed when I was 10.
Okay.
And so I just think it's a beautiful thing, and I feel like everybody just needs to be themselves and know that it's okay to be different. You know, if I shine, I hope other people will shine too. And maybe we can all shine together and just make this world a better place and have more love, and we just need that.
Everybody just truly, truly deep in their heart loves him. And you know why? It's because he loves them.
If everybody was like you,
And be a better
the world would
world.
be full of love. There wouldn't be any hate. Proud of me.
Logan helped me so much. I used to have really, really bad anxiety, and Logan was the best person to talk to about it because he has so many things that he works with every day with himself. And so I think it's special that he's friends with so many people in this town. Love you guys.
That's sweet. I think when you accept things, it gets easier in life. I think when I accepted I had autism, I finally lived. You can't expect other people to accept you if you can't accept yourself. And it's a freeing feeling. And finally here, and it's over with, and I have autism, but I'm more than autism. I'm more than my diagnosis. I try to make things happen, but I have people that's helped me in my life make those things happen. I have the most loving family and friends that I could ask for. You know, I had a birthday party in my hometown, and over 200 people came and gave me a hug through a line and said they love me and they care about me. And those are the kind of people you need in your corner. You need people that lift you up and not bring you down. I think all I've ever wanted was acceptance, and I think I'm finally get that acceptance. And you wait a lifetime for it, but it does come. And so I'll share a little bit with you of it. It's about autism and my journey. So I said, autism brings a cold despair, but the warmth of the sun every morning enriched with God's love tells me it's going to be okay. I always turn my negatives into positives. And so even though autism is hard, I find the blessings and the good things about it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to parents and kids out there?
I would just say that you parents out there are doing a wonderful job, and it's not your fault. Nothing's your fault. You're doing the best you can. And all you kids out there, you're perfect the way you are, and you're beautiful. And it's okay to be different. Just look at my life. And autism is a gift, and it's a blessing. And you're beautifully made, and God made you just how you're supposed to be. And being different is okay, and just keep being you.
What a beautiful story from Logan. And guess what? He's here with us today. Logan, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We also have Noah Fleming, who is an autistic 17-year-old, and his mom, Allie Tomlinson Fleming. Welcome to both of you, and thank you all for joining us for this wonderful discussion. Noah, what do you want people to know about autism and about being autistic?
Well, I'd say that it really depends on the way you look at it. You know, say it's like it's like the golden rule. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Yeah.
So in knowing about autism, is you call that the golden rule. Do you feel as being autistic, people don't treat you the way you want to be treated?
Well, I wouldn't know about because of the autistic part, but sometimes not everybody treats me the way I want to be treated sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And that's something people do have to take into account. Logan, I'm going to ask you, what are some of the things that people typically don't understand about autism?
That it's a whole spectrum. No two people are alike, and it really has no look. I get it all the time. You don't look autistic, but there really isn't a look to autism. But it's a beautiful journey with a few bumps in the road.
Let's talk about difficulties with autism. Do you encounter difficulties, and if so, what are they?
I think a lot of my difficulties is loneliness, finding love, relationships, having anxiety, depression. There's just many things that come with it, but I'm really at a good place in my life right now. I'm very happy.
Noah, same thing for you. Difficulties in being autistic.
Difficulties in being autistic? Well, I guess not everybody treats me the way I want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And so let's talk a little bit about when we talk about the difficulties. Let's talk about sensory and social difficulties, Logan. Explain what exactly that is.
It's getting overwhelmed in an overwhelming world, and so you could not leave the house sometimes if you're just too overstimulated, and so it really messes with you because you get overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed in social situations. And Noah, so that brings me back to you, Noah, being overwhelmed in certain situations. We talked about this a little bit. That does happen to you. Can you explain more about that?
Social. Well, I guess people judge me before they know me sometimes.
And sensory. So I think we were talking more about when you're in school and maybe walking through the halls and there are lots of people around and lots of noise. How does that affect you?
Well, it's loud and loud, and it's kind of crowded sometimes.
And so how do you navigate that? How do you deal with that when it happens?
Well, sometimes I just get headphones or earbuds, and other times I just cover my ears with my hands.
What are some of the things, Noah, that you're proud of?
Well, yes, what am I proud of?
I'm sure there are many things.
Noah, you have so many things to be proud of.
Well, I guess there's my memories.
You have a great memory. I've actually seen your memory in action. As we've been sitting here, you remember things that I don't.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Logan, same question for you. What are you proud of?
I'm proud of everything. I'm proud of my loving and caring heart. I'm proud that I've been able to inspire people with autism and help them in their lives. And that really brings a lot of joy to my life.
Let's talk about day-to-day struggles, though. What kind of things do you go through? And we talked a little bit about isolation and that sort of thing, but are there other things that are just on a daily basis that's just tough for you to deal with?
Finding my way sometimes, experiencing loneliness and having anxiety. And I battle body dysphoria, so that's hard. And so I go through those things every day. But autism is hard. It's not easy. There's challenges. And so every day is a new day, and you just put one foot in front of the other and keep going.
And you make a good point. I think people need to recognize that autism is tough, but you are in this world trying to navigate through it. And people, that's where I believe acceptance comes in. And as we mentioned at the beginning of our program, we are celebrating autism acceptance. But another phrase that many of us hear about is autism awareness. What's the difference between acceptance and awareness? And Ellie, I'll start with you on this one.
Well, I appreciate you passing it to me, but these are the real experts on autism, so I'm just thankful to be up here with them. The difference between being aware and acceptance is action. So we can all be aware of something, but whether we really want to take action and, have a mindset shift is the real difference. Acceptance is really allowing an individual to truly be who they are and allowing them to take up space in the world exactly how they are. And I think that is necessary for the autistic experience. So no one that's autistic should have to change anything about themselves because they're not hurting anyone. They should be able to take up a space exactly as they are, and we should be able to create a community and a society and a world where they can thrive exactly as they are, and that acceptance can move and shift barriers if we will just put that into action.
When people are treated unfairly, things don't really go right. See, that's why I think it's only fair to treat people well, fair.
Yeah, that acceptance really is a pathway to fairness.
Yes, it is.
Logan, you agree with that?
I agree totally. Yeah.
That's what acceptance looks like to you?
Yes.
When we say acceptance, you say it's being treated fairly?
Yes.
Is it anything other than that?
It's loving people for exactly who they are, not what you want them to be. And I believe the cure for autism is acceptance. And then you're finally free.
and you're finally free.
Yeah.
How do we make people better, though? Better understand? What is the key to really, truly making people understand autism?
Autism is a natural part of the human experience. So, metaphorically, when we talk about a cure for autism, We're talking about love, but we don't want a cure for autism because autism is natural and it's wonderful. We have a spectrum here with us today. Logan and Noah are completely different and they're completely wonderful in their own right. And they have so much to offer the world. Why would we want to change that? We just need to give them a place to thrive.
What is it like being the mom to an autistic child?
It is an honor and a privilege.
Tell me that again.
It is an honor and a privilege.
And you say that because?
I have seen the hardest working person I've ever met. So Noah used to pull 12-hour days in therapy, and then we realized that, you know, with all the tools, he's going to make it, and he's going to make his dreams come true.
Wow. Noah, Allie, thank you all, each of you, for contributing to this part of our conversation. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And we will be back with our next panel after we take another look at a story, this one from Cabot Freshman Academy.
Autism acceptance is seeing no difference in the students, seeing everybody as equal.
Here come our friends.
Exactly.
Hey, we pre-put you guys with Demi, and they have their activities ready for you. So with Kay.
So C2G is something that they do with the general education students. When it originally started, it was a way for them to get extra help, extra support on work. So we started implementing downtime in our room during C2G for them to work on the rec leisure skills or the social skills. And then this year, we were able to get me hooked up on the RTI program, which is where they go in and schedule to come in and start slowly integrating some of those students into our class for games, for puzzles. We've done cooking lessons with them. We've done arts and crafts. It's just a way for our students to have some social interaction with their own peers without us all in their business.
Am I playing? It is.
We've had some type of program like this in various aspects since I've been here since 2014, 10 years now.
So our students with autism can learn how to have successful opportunities in those general education settings in the community, and that their neurotypical peers are learning how to engage with them and support them and just be good friends, developing empathy and learning to work together, which they're going to have to do at all points of life.
We've gone from 7 consistency students coming in at C2G and talking to our students at lunch to I think we have 20 that are fighting for spots right now to come in. So we've seen it grow throughout the year. And I think that comes from them seeing their peers interact with them and knowing that there's no difference.
It allows our gen ed students to see a different light and to feel like they're making an impact, but at the same time, our autistic kids to feel like, hey, I do have a place in this school, even if I'm not in, general ed classes. It just creates a sense of community. It creates a sense of belonging, which is truly what we're here for.
So it's my turn, so I'm gonna go. Okay, I got a yellow. Why am I getting all these yellows today? Okay, I'm just building up stuff.
Say, she probably didn't shuffle.
He not shuffle.
Okay, hey, what color is that? There's a lot of support school-wide from other teachers, from the administration, from parents. The students all get along. They're very engaged in what we do.
We have just an amazing road ahead that's going to be a lot of work. We're changing a lot of mindsets. We're changing a lot of this is how it's always been, and it is hard work. But when we empower our teachers to teach all students, when we support our paraeducators and we give them the training they need, when administrators are familiar with how to help all students, it is going to be incredible to see how the outcomes for our students with special education services change.
You need to push your teachers to go outside of their comfort zone. You need to push your teachers to understand that autisms or disabilities are not an exclusion from everyone else. So you have to be able to teach teachers first, and then you start working on the students. And once you get the students and teachers involved, it's easy. Whether they're gen ed, special ed, it doesn't matter. Everybody should have a place, and we need to focus on that.
You're playing
Just see everybody as equal. I mean, in my eyes, nobody's different. And I wish the world would see that nobody's different. It takes some of us longer to learn things. It takes some of us different ways to learn things. And I think that's my biggest thing, is just to be a role model that we're all equal.
All kids deserve for people to look at them and think, what's next? What's possible? And what do we need to do to help them get there? And when we have our minds set on that, these kids are going to have opportunities, and it's going to change the world.
A big thank you to Cabot Freshman Academy for opening your doors and sharing such a special moment with us. I'm thrilled to introduce our next panel. Our focus will be on education and autism acceptance for children and teens in kindergarten through 12th grade, and we have some panelists who will share their experiences. First, I have Jenna Bell Moore, who is autistic and is currently a sophomore at UCA. She is majoring in family and consumer sciences education, but would also like to explore art. Dr. Cindy Fong joins us and is an autism mom with a background in counseling and psychology. She works and has served on various disability-related nonprofit boards and community organizations, one being the Arkansas Autism Foundation. And Jessica Somm is also with us today. Jessica Somm is a special educator, the 2022 Teacher of the Year, and the Collaboration and Inclusion Coordinator for the Cabot Public School District. Thank you so much for being with us. Jenna, I'm going to start with you. Currently, you're a student at the University of Central Arkansas. Can you tell me about your experience transitioning from grade school, junior high, high school, and now college? What was that like for you?
So for me, when I was younger, I was homeschooled. So it was from elementary to middle school. So that was more of a go at your own pace, don't have to worry about getting this done immediately, just working by myself. Then as I decided, you know what, I want to go to public school for my last few years of schooling, I went into 9th grade. That was a very different world. I had an IEP, so I could, which is actually an individual plan of action for learning. On that included, I could get more time. I could easily do stuff and not have to stress about a deadline. But then when I went to college, unless you have that very forgiving teacher, it is, you need to turn in your stuff when it needs to be turned in.
And how is that working out for you, considering before you had the leniency of working at your own pace versus now with some of your instructors telling you, okay, it's due, we want it now?
For me, I've been more of that person who tries to stay on top of their work, so it hasn't been much different in that respect, but for a sense now, I'm choosing what I want to do in college instead of high school, where you get whatever courses you get, such as like the basic sciences and math. Instead, in college, I get to choose what math I want to do, what science I want to do, and I get to choose what I want to study. So it's more of stuff I'm interested in rather than the uninterestment in high school.
So both of you, Cindy and Jessica, you both work in education. What are some of the things, especially listening here to what Jenna Bell just discussed, what are some of the things that can be done at an early level to help students transition through school, basically? I'll start with you, Jessica.
Sure. I think we need to have conversations, and conversations not just through programming those IEPs, but really when a teacher is sending a student from elementary to middle to junior high, those teachers know those students well, and bringing in the voice of caregivers, parents into that IEP, and then sharing that information that maybe just isn't reflected in writing, but really good details about the student to really know and understand their needs are going to make those transitions easier. I also think empowering the student to be a self-advocate and share their voice and be prepared to tell the teacher, this is the way I learn, these are the supports I need. It's going to make them more successful and then prepare them again for whether it's college, community, career, whatever's after our K-12 system.
Cindy, you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. Having that support, especially at the key transition areas, is important. From a parent perspective, having a working relationship with teachers and therapists and having an advocate to come with you to IEP meetings, and knowing your rights, being educated about what to ask for modifications and accommodations in the classroom. All of that's important.
And and it's important for us to talk to you in addition to the roles that you've played with different organizations and all of that. Being a mom from day one, you had to recognize this and certainly do all that you could as a mother to prepare your child for that next step.
Absolutely.
And how did you navigate through that?
Well, I will say that some of the best support that I've received as a mom is from other moms, from other parents, and getting that support from those who are on the same journey but a little bit ahead. That's been really helpful for me personally. There's a lot of organizations that offer workshops and conferences and opportunities for parents to learn about the process, learn all the acronyms. That's kind of a big thing, big hurdle. But yeah, all of that is helpful. I
can see how that would be. So Jenna Bell, let's talk about some of the things that have helped you thrive. I know you talked about how it was getting through school and the leniency that you experienced, but what else can you add to that in terms of what has helped you get here to UCA?
Well, to be honest, good teachers. I would not have gotten this far if it hadn't been for them. In fact, one of them, my first year of high school, I was in homeroom, where it's basically study hall. And I was crying because I was doing this algebra assignment, something that I don't remember to this day, but I'm not being an electrician, so that helps. But this teacher in particular, Miss Locke, she went over to me, being another algebra teacher, and went, "Jenna Bell, I'm going to reteach you this lesson." She wasn't my official algebra teacher, but she went out of her way to help me in that period understand this homework. Mm-hmm. So just having that teacher who is willing to come and help when they see someone struggling, be able to understand and not rush a student to know the material that they just don't know.
That's a very good point. The teacher is so valuable in making this process work. Obviously, a very astute mom and getting information from other parents. I want to talk about neurotypical individuals and autism or neurodivergent. Before I get into the question, can you briefly explain what those two terms, neurotypical and neurodivergent, mean?
Neurodivergent refers to individuals that are on the autism spectrum. Sometimes it's inclusive of people with ADHD or ADD, but just individuals who are neurologically wired differently to process the world in different ways, and versus neurotypical, those who sort of the norm.
So what does positive communication, what role does positive communication play when you bring those two factors in?
I really think that a lot of times our students who are neurodivergent need to have that positive communication modeled for them and opportunities to learn how to communicate. They may start school with limited verbal ability, and as they move through, they're still learning some of those pragmatics of language and understanding how to communicate with peers, teachers, other members of the community. And they need those opportunities modeled for them and opportunities to practice being a voice for themselves and being a voice for their needs, like we talked about in their educational needs. It's just such a critical part of life. I think sometimes we take it for granted of how easy it is to speak when not everyone else, it comes to them that easy.
So I'm wondering, what should people know about social and sensory difficulties with autism, and how can that affect learning? Jessica, I'll start with you.
Absolutely. I think we have to make sure to design our classrooms and learning spaces where there's opportunities for not having sensory overload or sensory input if our students need it. So in our classrooms, when we anticipate some of those barriers or difficulties and we go ahead and build spaces in and resources for students, they have a much higher chance of being successful without having to add additional things when there's a struggle. So I think just making sure our classrooms are designed to support students from the get-go.
I just agree with that social anxiety and sensory issues are often underlying a lot of the behaviors that we see, problem behaviors that we see with students in the classroom. So creating a space where they can feel safe and understood is important for success in learning.
And Cindy, you said this before, if they don't feel safe, they cannot learn.
Right.
That's very important. Your thoughts on this, Jenna Bell?
Exactly what they're saying. For me, during COVID, I couldn't get that hug that I needed. I'm more sensory needing rather than not wanting people to touch me. So during COVID, I had my mask on and all that, and one day I needed to use my IEP to get help, and my teacher denied it. So I went to my aide to make the complaint because that's not right. And I was upset, and she could tell that, and she felt almost hesitant to give me that hug because we're being told in COVID, no touch, keep 6 feet away, all that. But she had to break the rule for that because that was a need of mine.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things we have to understand. Some people do want to be touched and others don't. How do we know?
Communication with either the student, their caregivers, and providing spaces that can provide that sensory input, or somewhere that can provide a space that isn't so sensory overload. So, blue lights in a classroom, a quiet place in the corner to calm down, fidgets, or things that can offer compression can meet students' needs.
I want to talk about autism acceptance and what that looks like. I'm going to start with you, Cindy. What does it look like?
There's a whole movement within the autism community to embrace the diagnosis and celebrate it. And so I feel like understanding, allowing for, appreciating, and celebrating those differences is what acceptance is all about.
Jessica?
I think this is part of it, having these conversations, giving a voice to the educators, the parents, the individuals with autism to share their needs, their experiences, and it just become a part of our normal conversation, and then we can better serve students and communities.
And Jenna Bell, I'm going to leave it with you. What does autism acceptance look like?
Well, to me, it looks like, in a way, being treated like everyone else, not being treated as someone different, but also knowing when someone needs help with this disorder, knowing when to step in and help them
get through it, navigate. And one more question here. What resources do you know about that might help autistic children, families, and educators in our state? Jessica?
I think that there is so much information available online. Obviously, families are going to need to navigate what is applicable to their child and the services that they want. But that connection between caregivers, parents, and teachers, that is so important because there are teachers that have so many resources within that local community that they can help connect parents to get a child the services they need and the support they need, not only to be successful in the school setting, but out in the community and with their family members as well. So just that communication between your local education agency, your school district, and the teachers in your classroom can really open up opportunities.
I serve on the Arkansas Autism Foundation, and so there's various programs and supports that we offer. There's also organizations such as Community Connections that offers support for families and extracurricular activities, and the Center for Exceptional Families is another organization that provides a lot of education for parents, that workshops and conferences that I mentioned.
And like you mentioned, a good place to get information to is from another parent of a child with autism.
Correct.
I want to thank you, Jenna, Jessica, and Cindy. Thank you so much for joining us for this. And next, we have our last segment centering on adulthood and community support. But first, we have a look at another personal story.
It's not leaking. Services are great until they're out of school. And then when they're out of school, that is what suffers the most. I mean, we're fortunate that we have ILS where Ryan goes, and it's privately funded. We need services for adults with special needs.
Hello, I am Bradley Renfro. I am 35 years old, and I am slightly on the autism spectrum.
Hi. I am Landon Ryan Renfro, and I'm just going to speak a little bit about my autism here.
When did this come out? Some original trilogy stuff, it looks like.
All right, guys, what is autism?
It's just kind of a neurodivergent sort of I don't want to say disorder. I don't know what the word is there, but
I think that's a good word.
you know, we just kind of see the world in a different way, I guess.
Their brain is wired in a way where they experience the world differently. And that's the simplest one sentence way that I can come. And then you can drill down into more specific things per our experience.
I think I have something of a growth mindset, and I've just kind of been observing everybody and learning how to communicate better.
What do you and your friends like to do together?
Cruises and concerts and when we're at work too.
Ryan, he was able to go to Profiles, and at first they offered like daily living type of instruction. After he went to Profiles, Ryan found he likes to work. Brad, socially, went leaps and bounds ahead of where he was in high school. He's gotten now where he's really, he's great in a social situation.
I work for ILS, Independent Living Services. I'm what I think they call a social coordinator, consisting of things like taking him to his appointments.
If you find yourself in a situation, who to call, what to do.
Have him practice a tornado drill and a fire drill. Yep.
Yeah. All the kids' activities and things in church were just an integral part, just as much as school.
We've overcome those hard years and we're better for it. We're okay and they're okay. You know, we just have some things to plan for the future, as anyone does. We just have some special circumstances.
A very special thank you to the Renfro family for giving us a glimpse into their world. Autism doesn't just end with high school or college. Acceptance should be found everywhere in our communities and in our workforce. However, resources can be difficult to find, especially in rural areas. So our next panel will discuss how to find needed resources and how to promote autism acceptance in the workplace and for adults with autism. First, we have Eric Fulton. He's a member of the Special Projects Department and member of Staff Senate at UCA who is autistic. Becky Bogoslavsky is also with us. She is the coordinator of the Autism and Neurodiversity Transition Program at the University of Central Arkansas, and she is a mother of an autistic daughter named Abby. And we have Special Sanders, a middle school teacher from Monticello and the mother of a 5-year-old autistic son named Majesty. I want to thank you so much for being with us. Eric, I'm going to start with you. What should coworkers know about social and sensory difficulties with autism in the workplace to help normalize acceptance?
Well, first off, I just want to say that this is an honor for me to be a part of this. I feel very blessed and very grateful that to have this opportunity to speak with everybody. As far as the workforce and the social and sensory issues, I know communication can be very difficult for some. It's like you comprehend sometimes, and a lot of it just doesn't go through as well as anybody else. So it's really, it can be difficult at times. But I also truly think that, you know, it could be human nature to not have all these, to have all these, issues and problems going on. I think for me, it's about trying to communicate well, and also with sensory issues, you're going to have loud places, and it's going to, you're going to have, it's going to distract you. Sometimes it distracts me when you have sensory issues. So just really, when you think about it, both of those things can be hard. But the biggest thing is to communicate, to ask questions, figure out things like that, figure out things, and just try to have a common goal and a common balance of, okay, what to do if the situation goes awry, and if something happens, then talk about it, discuss it, and it'll make you make people feel better about themselves, and just say it's not just the person who has autism,
Yeah.
it's just everyone.
And one of the things, a common theme throughout this program has been communication. Communication with coworkers, coworkers communicating with you, and that sort of thing. Communication is key. People need to understand. And then you, on the other hand, also need to be able to navigate when these things like loud noises and things like that happen. Special, what are some ways community members, educators, and providers can support one another so that they can work more closely, especially going back to that communications word? And I want to talk about places that really lack resources, small communities. How do everyone work together? How do you navigate through that?
Yes, so I live in Monticello, which is a very small town, less than 10,000 people. And so what's really worked for Majesty and our family, first, family, working with your family members. We have the privilege of my two sisters being early childhood educators. So in our situation, my sisters were able to, because of their experience of working with autistic children, my sister was able to say, okay, I think you should get him tested. And so then going to the pediatrician and having to convince them a little bit to get him tested. And then the next layer was the education field. So working there, we were in Pine Bluff at the time, at the Jenkins Memorial Center. They're a robust operation there that works with children and adults with developmental disabilities. And so having him being screened there, and then navigating that process of going to the dentist developmental center to get him tested. So that was there. So my sisters who are educators and family members, and then those local education resources and organizations there really helped us.
What about other moms? One of the conversations we had before was how other parents can help. How do they help with this process?
So specifically in my situation, one of the teachers there at my job, I am a teacher. I guess I should have mentioned that, but I'm a teacher. So one of the teachers at my school was also the parent of an autistic child. He was a year older than Majesty. So speaking with her and learning about her experience, and we just kind of met and said, oh my goodness, I finally found somebody that I can talk to, somebody who understands. So of course we embraced, cried a little bit, and then she told me about her journey working with her son and getting him services. So that really helped us.
Becky, any more resources around the state that we should mention?
There are a number of resources. I know I work at a college, so we have transition programs, but we're not the only college that has them. And we were talking about this backstage, that there's a number of different programs and a number of different things available, and you just really have to look and see what's going to match your child. Access Schools does Project Search, which helps students find jobs after they graduate, be it high school or college or at whatever age, just helping them transition from the school environment to a work environment and learn those soft skills that they need. So those are a couple of really good resources.
And speaking of work, Eric, on your job, what strengths do you bring to the table and what challenges do you face?
I would say two strengths would be that, one, I'm a team player. I like to work as part of a team, as part of a group. I had experience as a team manager when I was at ECA. I was a volleyball and softball manager for most of my undergrad and a little bit of my graduate years. One thing I learned is, you're not alone. Watching them like practice or, traveling, and then on top of that, they're going to school, classes just like I am. That definitely helped inspire me to say that, I can do this too, and also more importantly, sometimes it's not all about you, it's about the next person. So that's one thing. And another thing is I like paying attention to detail. I'd like to, make sure that everything is tight, everything is on the tee, and just to, make sure that things are going smoothly. And if they're not going smoothly, kind of learn how to adjust on the fly and make sure that everything is running very well. Weakness, I would say, I do tend to get stressed out a lot, whether it's through work or, things outside of work. And sometimes that distraction doesn't really bode well for me. I kind of, tend to maybe go at it alone instead of, just kind of like learning how to like cool down for a minute and just kind of reset everything. I have done a better job with that in recent terms, but I'm human.
Yeah.
You're gonna go through times where you're working hard, but you're not. But sometimes your focus isn't there. So if you focus more on the task at hand instead of, just things that you can't control at this point in time, then things will definitely get better.
Becky, you have a 24-year-old daughter who's in the workforce. How does communication help her and help most adults with autism navigate through the workforce?
I think being able to feel open to address issues that they may have in the workforce, and for employers to understand that their experience may be different, but not to underestimate them, and being able to think outside the box, come up with answers, because there's always an answer. It may be having a cooling off place, having a cooling off period if they get overwhelmed. But she's felt very free to go to her employer whenever she sees something that, concerns her, or if there's anything going on. And she's done a great job navigating the workplace, but she went through Project Search, and they helped her understand a lot of those skills that she was going to need.
I'm going to wrap up, but I have questions for you. First of all, what does autism acceptance look like to you? I'll start with you first.
Yes, for me, for someone that lives in a small community, I think just the community acknowledging that there are individuals in the community that learn differently, that have different needs. And so working with the parents and families there, maybe through the churches, some of the colleges there, to provide spaces maybe where they can meet and talk about, hey, this is what we're going through, this is what we're struggling with, and so how can we work together as a community to create, some type of organization or committee or something that will address the needs of everyone that lives here.
Becky, same question, autism acceptance.
I would say giving them a seat at the table, and not just giving them that seat, but listening to what they have to say and taking it into consideration when we're making decisions that impact anyone who's on the spectrum or who might be neurodiverse.
And Eric, I want to end with you by asking, what is it that you want people to know about people with autism?
That we have goals, we have dreams, just like everybody else. We have strengths, we have weaknesses. I think that just giving people with autism a chance to succeed rather than, not having them, fail is so important, because it inspires them to do something, even more manageable and more possible than they can ever dream of. So I think that just the support that you get from people, and I'm just thankful for a city like Conway and a place like UCA that have given me so much support over the years to help me do so much, even more things down the road. So I'm just thankful for the people that I've come across to in my life.
Well, congratulations on all of your successes.
Thank you.
Eric, Becky, special thank you so much for being with us. And as we come to a close, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of our guests who have generously shared their expertise, experiences, and perspectives with us today. And to Logan, Noah, Jenna Bell, and Eric, thank you for sharing your stories, your strengths, and your aspirations. Your voices are the heart of this conversation, and your advocacy is driving positive change in our communities. As we wrap up, Let's remember that acceptance is not just a word. It's a commitment to understanding, respect, and celebration of neurodiversity. Let's carry the conversations we heard today forward by continuing to have dialogue of what autism acceptance may look like. Always feel free to provide us feedback. I'm Donna Terrell. Thank you for joining us on this journey toward greater understanding and acceptance of autism.
Hi, my name is Keandra. I am a special education paraprofessional. I am also the mother of an awesome 3-year-old toddler boy. To me, autism acceptance means overstimulation, sensory aversions, meltdowns, but it also means curiosity, underestimated intelligence, and all-around mysteriousness. Autism is literally my life.
I'm Kyle. I am the current president of the Autism and Neurodiversity Alliance here on the University of Central Arkansas campus. And to me, autism acceptance is a better world, a place where everyone is given the chance to express who they are, how they are, in a way that is comfortable for them and a way that brightens the world and the future of everyone.
My name is Shatobika Rhymes, and I am a proud mom to an amazing and awesome autistic child. I am also the co-founder of All Things Autism Foundation. To me, autism acceptance means the ability to have empathy and compassion to spread autism awareness to everyone in our everyday lives.
My name is Sharika. I am a mom to an autistic child and co-founder of All Things Autism. To me, autism acceptance looks like being included as a family, as an autism family, being involved, being seen and loved while they are here, understanding and helping without being judged. Thank you.